Hi and welcome to Robyn's Roost. Today we're going to be making a box card. I originally saw this design on Split Coast Stampers and I wanted to share it with you if you hadn't seen it there. It's a really fun card. It looks like something that you wouldn't be able to put in the mail, but look at this. That is so cool. Folds flat and opens up to give your recipient a really neat surprise. I think it'd be great for Mother's Day cards, birthday cards, Valentine's, something for a little kid that could enjoy. To begin with, you're going to start with a 12 by 12 sheet of paper in whatever color you choose. I'm using real red, and we're going to cut it in half. So we need a 6 by 12 piece of paper to start. Our next step is going to be scoring it to get our folds. So we're going to score along the long edge, and I have these marked. It's 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4, and 11 inches. We're then going to spin it the other way and score this at 2 1/2. Now our next step will be to cut the flaps down to the 2 1/2. So we'll just snip these. These are going to be our flaps. And this last, the narrow tab, is actually going to be our glue tab to make our box. So we're going to snip this off at a little bit of an angle. And there we have our box. Now our next step will be to cut our paper to cover our box. So for this particular one I chose this striped paper, and these are going to be these bottom pieces. So they are 3 1/4, and I need 3 of them. All of our pieces, our strips, are 2 1/2 inches, and then by whatever length. Okay, so here are our 3 outside bottoms. Now this one is going to be our tops, and I haven't cut this yet into the strips, so these are going to be 2 1/2. And for these we need one long one for the back. It's going to go all the way, and that one is 5 3/4. And then we need 6 short ones that will be 2 1/4. Okay, so there we have all of our pieces. We will also need a white piece for the back of the tall part, which would be this piece. So we're going to glue these on like this. And this would be the inside of our box. Now to glue these on, I like to use, this is the Stampin' Up! Glue stick, so I like to use those. And you're going to want to get all the way to the edges so that you don't have corners coming up. And then just center these on your score marks. I also like to use, I have plenty of scrap paper always around. I'm sure you do too. I'll just take scrap paper so that I don't get the fronts of my, and I just keep changing the scrap papers. So that's the inside. Now for the outside, we're going to do these, and we'll put that like that. I apologize, this is my first video, so I'm a little awkward with the camera. And in my house, I actually have dogs, so I'm always fighting with the dog hair scenario. It's really irritating when you end up with dog hair glued down in your project, but not irritating enough that I would get rid of my best friends. And you might need to make sure that you have your paper in a certain direction, if your pattern has a direction to it. Like the flowers, you might find that you want them all to go a certain direction. Sometimes I like to take an extra sheet of paper and just kind of rub over everything. And it's hard to rub with the edges coming up. Make sure it's all glued down good. And at this point I would probably leave it sit for a little while so the glue gets dry. So for right now I'm just going to set that off to the side. We do need 2 other pieces for in the center of this. And they are going to be 1 inch wide. And they need to be 4 3/4 long. And then each of these will need to be scored on both ends at 1 inch. Because we're going to fold them over to hold them in the box. So those are ready. Okay, now we're going to put our box together. So this tab, this is the outside because we have our white piece for the back. This tab is going to fold in and we're going to glue that down to create our box. Just going to put some glue on the tab. This might also be a good spot to use your your red tape strip, because this does have quite a bit of pressure on this box tab. So while we're leaving that dry, we can work on our insides, which if you see this one, I'm going to have a greeting on the back and some flowers and butterflies in here. So we can start with our greeting, which is from the Really Good Greetings stamp set. And it has 6 greetings. I really like them. A cheer up type one, everything will be okay even if we can't see what okay is yet. I just kind of like those. Sometimes people need a little cheering up. Now, I'm going to cut this out with the framelit, so we want to leave enough room around it so that we can cut it. So we're going to stamp that, and I'm using the Rich Razzleberry. I really like that color, and it is on vanilla. Next we can stamp our, this is Pink Pirouette, my ink pads, and I'm going to stamp this with Melon Mambo. And if you'll notice, I actually write the color family on mine because I have a terrible time remembering. And I actually do have these marked. If you'll notice the little dot, if I can remember where it is when I go to cut it out, it helps for the framelit placement. And I decided to use this Wisteria Wonder on this one, and Perfect Plum. And you'll see this is a regal. And here again I have my dots. Old Olive is like one of my favorite, and I'm going to stamp with Old Olive ink as well. And there I just got my thumb. And hopefully I'm not stamping this where you can't see it. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 of these. There. And that's all of our stamping. Now, we also need 2 little butterflies. And I have this awesome paper. It's called Sweet Sorbet, and it's going to be in the Celebration catalog coming out at the end of January. So I like doing this black and white butterfly. I think he's so cute. This butterfly out of this blue paper. Okay, so we have our two little butterflies there. Now we need to cut these out. Okay, so I'm going to start with our leaves, and maybe this guy can run two of them through at once. So the flowers that we're using are from the Secret Garden set. It's a set of 7. And it also has a framelit set that matches it. And I absolutely love the framelits that match the stamps. Now, I've actually found a couple of pieces of magnet to keep my framelits sort of in place and corralled. Okay, so we've got our first cutouts done, and you just pop these right out. This one's a little bit trickier. It likes to stick. And again, this is the Secret Garden collection. Here again, you can see my dot to line these up. Just makes it go faster. We're going to actually cut 2 different ones here. I'm going to cut our greeting out that we did in the Very Vanilla. And then I'm going to cut the next larger size out on chocolate chip. Now I'm going to pop the greeting up with some dimensionals. We'll layer this on our mat. This is going to go on the back of our box. So it's going to look kind of like this, and then we'll have our butterflies popping up in there. And I think we better put these in. Now I think I'm going to use a little bit of the Tombow adhesive for these. They seem to like to come out, so just put a little bit on here. Now I should have had this glued in while it was sitting. Of course I didn't remember. So these you're just going to line up with the top edge. It's just a platform to glue your little designs on. So here's our 2 little butterflies. Black and white and a blue one. And to make the butterflies spring out, I'm just going to take a piece of this acetate. I was working on some of the little fish bowls here, and cut a couple of strips out. So then the butterflies will look like they're flying when you open the card. So to adhere these elements, I'm going to use some glue dots, just the mini glue dots. And I want my butterflies to kind of look like they're flying sideways. So I'm going to put like this. We'll put 2 of these on here. And now I have to find my other strip. I'm going to make him kind of go downward a little bit. This is actually a different box that I'm making. But I thought I could show you a little better how to put the pieces into the box. Here you'll see the 2 supporting strips that are going to hold the pieces in. And here is my greeting for this one that is going to go on the back of the card. So I'm just going to adhere this piece, and I'll center this on the back. Then I need to decide where I want to put my flowers. I think this one's going to go here. And I'm using the glue dots and putting them just on the bottom half, if you can see those little buggers. So this one is going to go here. Here's our butterfly, and I'm not quite sure if I am going to use a butterfly on this one or something else yet, so I'm not going to glue him in, but here is the card that we were making, and then you can see this folds up to close up the card.